Well, I see. And there we go. We're live. I want to welcome everybody today to the Fortify webinar. But before I introduce our guest today, special guest, I want to just take a moment and alert the Fortify family to an event that took place last Thursday. It's an event that you're not part of it, haven't listened to any news. But last Thursday night in the U.S., Friday in New Zealand, that horrible, horrific massacre at the El Nor and Linwood mosques in Christchurch, New Zealand, took place. And our guest in the webinar last month and a longtime member of the Fortify family, Raisha Ismail, someone we love and cherish dearly here, was impacted significantly. Raisha lost her brother, Junaid, who she was very close to. It was her younger brother. And we're just heartsick. We are aching and struggling to make sense of that. And again, those of us here in the U.S., sometimes those events that are so far away, so easy to depersonalize them. And we have a member of our family, Fortify family, that's struggling today. And I'd like to call upon those members of Fortify that are so inclined to offer to her and her family their thoughts and their prayers. Junaid leaves a lovely wife, Sabi, and 3 beautiful children, Nadia, Adam, and Yusuf. So we send to you our love, Raisha. If you're watching, or if you're watching on the replay, we're thinking about you, and we are so sorry that someone can think of and have the capacity to bring such harm to so many good people. We love you. Craig, shifting gears, I want to tell you, I am thrilled, I'm excited, and I even have goosebumps today introducing you. You are a friend and a colleague, and this is going to be a good time. You have helped so many people around the world. You've helped professional athletes, celebrities, famous executives. You've worked with a ton of people, helping all of them to find, we'll call it, relief and resolution to what you call porn addictions and sex afflictions. I've watched several of your YouTube videos. I love every one I've seen, but I love the phrase, and nobody says it better than you. I've been trying to imitate how you say it, but I love that phrase. You have been on every major TV network, every radio network, sharing your story, and you do it openly, honestly, and willingly to the help of so many. I love Craig Parra because he is grateful. Craig, you're grateful for your recovery. You're grateful for those who have helped you and assisted you along the way. You've had that burning passion and fire to, since I've been helped, I want to help others, and you certainly have, and you certainly are. By the time we're done with this webinar today, our Fortify members are going to know that you know this space. And I love the sense of urgency you bring to the topic. Sometimes that sense of urgency finds you speaking very directly, as opposed to some of us who beat around the bush. And because of that, you are known as the No BS porn coach. Welcome, my friend and colleague, Craig Parra, to the Fortify webinar.
Oh, thank you for those kind words, Vinny. Truly a privilege. And I'm so deeply moved and sickened by what happened, knowing it touched, particularly knowing it touched someone in the Fortify family. And there's my sense of urgency. Every day that we wake up and we open our eyes is a gift. And the thought of surrendering that gift, of squandering that gift, addicted to pixels, is offensive to me.
Yeah. Not too long ago, we won't say how many years, not too long ago, you were a 6-figure
10
professional,
years.
an attorney 10 years ago. 6 figures, working for the multi-billion-dollar corporation, and all of a sudden you find yourself in this arena. How did you get here, Craig?
Yeah, well, this journey started many, many years ago. Like so many of my brothers on this call, I was raised in a home where sex was dirty and disgusting, and you save it for someone you love. So, very unhealthy childhood sexual education. I was abused at home by my mother physically. I was, and that abuse led me into the arms, the embrace of a local neighborhood boy who was sexually abused himself, and he started touching me at 8 years old. And so this compartment, the silo part of me, those bricks around that part of me started to grow. And it manifested itself early with chronic infidelity. I cheated on my first 7th grade girlfriend, and every single one after, including my wife, Michelle. We've now been married 21 years. And so that compartmentalization followed me into adulthood. I was one of these old school guys, so some of our young friends don't remember that. There was a time when you needed to go to the adult bookstore in the shady part of town to get pornography. I had a fake ID, wasn't buying alcohol. I was using that to go sit in one of those booths and slip dollar bills into a machine to watch pornography. Prostitution, a secret pornography addiction that progressively got worse and worse and worse and worse. But I was very successful on the outside. Someone looking in, I was a successful lawyer, went to a top-notch law school, graduated and got a top-notch job. But there came a time when I was unable to separate those compartments, where the compulsion and how I felt about myself and how I was frankly numbing, coping, and escaping with pornography ruptured. So 10 years ago, I moved my family out to California to run a big insurance department's compliance department, nationwide responsibility. I got fired from my previous job, not because I was acting out or they caught me acting out, because I wasn't performing. You cannot perform at a higher level when you are addicted to pornography. Pornography is synonymous with underachievement, right? Those two things are inexorably intertwined. I start my new job, things rupture. I wasn't ready for the challenges, have a breakdown. You get addicted to prostitutes, addicted to porn, started using drugs, got fired from that job, tried to kill myself, ended up in an inpatient facility for 3 days, got out, acted out again, hit rock bottom. And it was in that moment, Vinny, where I knew just in the fiber of my being that I couldn't do what hadn't worked for me all these years. I'd done years of therapy. I had done, years of meetings. And in that low point, I changed my perspective, and here I am, almost 10 years later, the founder of a system that's helped people all over the world break free, particularly after they've struggled in traditional, places.
Yeah. And you and I both know, and of course, because we work in this arena daily, it's our life's work. The problem is growing significantly faster than resources and professionals are being made available to serve that ever-increasing population. And again, I just want to say, because you and I we've been talking for several months, and of course, I'm familiar with your work. I know you've been familiar with Fortify. Grateful that you are, and I appreciate when we communicate, you always call me brother, and I appreciate that, because I feel like we are brothers in that cause. Here's the problem. Here's how many people there are and resources to be able to address it.
Well, and quite frankly, Vinny, I'm I'm a pretty blunt guy, as you know. I think that most of the people entering this space are coming at it from a wrong perspective.
Yeah.
I do not support the disease-based model. I don't understand the logic and am convinced that science supports this proposition that using an 85-year-old model invented for alcoholism to the complexities of human intimacy, connection, unmet needs, healthy sexuality, habits. It doesn't work for most people. Now, for those who it works for, full steam ahead. Do what you got to do, whatever that is, to be your best self. But I think we're on the wrong track in terms of treating this condition.
Let me follow up exactly to your point. 3 weeks ago, I got a guy in my group who is saying to me, he said, Vinny, I have this feeling that if I can just overcome the porn addiction, my life's problems are going to be over. And he basically wanted some sort of validation for that. And I stole a line from things that you and I have talked about in recent months, and I gave him an answer. And I said, my concern is, actually what I told him was, I'd love to say yes to that, but my concern is porn is not the problem. And I'm wondering if today we could start our discussion by sort of addressing what, you and I have talked about, the leaves, the branches, the roots.
Yeah.
Porn isn't the problem, Craig.
So I've been doing this, Vinny, for 7 years. I've been working with men, now 27 countries, lives I've touched, men from the leading treatment institutions, men who have options to do whatever they want because they have means, picked me, and 1,000 maybe clients, if I include my group coaching program. Not one of them had a primary problem. Notice my words, a primary problem of sex and porn addiction. Not one, zero. So every client, their sex and porn addiction was not their number one problem, yet every client had framed it so that was their number one problem. The behavior is the symptom. The behavior is the symptom. And I think I know it is so important for everybody here to have that perspective. And I'll tell you just a quick story, Vinny. When somebody calls me, so I get a lot of calls, people call me all the time. I talk to somebody and they say, hi, Craig, it's Joe. I've been sober for 6 months, or I've been sober for 6 weeks. I know exactly where that call is going. I've got a little skit that I do. Oh, Joe, congratulations. You must be so proud. Did I help? Did you call to thank me? Your family must be like so excited. And excuse me, Craig, I just tell me what it feels like to be embracing your power of choice and feeding the right wolf and living your life's purpose and have deep, intimate connections in your life. And he's like, stop. My life sucks. That happens literally 3-4 times a week. It's a skit because it happens all the time. The behavior is the symptom. If any of you think that by by not doing the thing is going to produce for you the results that you're seeking, which I hope is being your best self, you're wrong.
I think so. That's why we come back and say, at least I do, and we talk about this idea of abstinence. The absence of darkness does not mean the presence of light. And just so I've got some notches on my belt does not mean, that I have resolved really the other issues that actually grew the branches, grew the leaves on the tree. Let's talk about roots.
Yeah.
So I'm, again, you know me, I'm a visual guy, and I got pictures of trees and roots all over my office here.
Yeah.
But porn isn't the problem. It's a label that we call symptoms. And if I think of it as the cause, I could be, I think a biblical scripture says, ever learning and never able to come to a knowledge of the truth. I will be trying to solve the problem by thinking porn is the problem. I'll never get it solved. I got to get to the roots. Take it from there.
So why the behavior? And I want everyone listening to truly begin to understand the need that the behavior is serving in your life, it's doing something for you. In fact, one of the exercises in my program is I have men identify the positive attributes of their compulsive sexual behavior. Now, after they get over that curveball and be like, it's ruining my life, how dare you ask me that question, they begin to understand that it's helping them relieve stress. It's really the only way in their lives that they're getting their sexual needs met because they move so distant from their partner. It's helping them numb, cope, and escape. So if it's helping you numb, cope, and escape from what? What is it helping you numb, cope, and escape from? And when you start peeling away the layers of the onion, and listen, some of you are ready to receive this message depending upon where you're at in your recovery, and there are others who are just going to dismiss it. That sounds ridiculous. The common denominator of every single client that I have worked with, the root cause, whether it be the CEO of the Fortune 1000 company or the teacher, trying to become a teacher, whatever it is, the common denominator, every single person is lack of love for self.
Yeah.
Lack of love for self. And it is why I was failed time and time again by treating the symptom. And I'm going to explain that. We're going to unpack that as we go forward so you can have some context to help understand, like, what the heck is he talking about?
My fortified friends and associates have seen this. I think I've shown this to you, Craig.
I've seen this. Yeah.
This is my piece of dog do. My own experience has been, and my guys have heard me say this, and gals, they've heard me say that what I hear over and over and over again is, and I'm reading a statement, Old Bear 19 posted here just a couple of minutes ago, porn and acting out destroyed by marriage, and I don't think it can be saved. This is the most disgusting habit that destroys lives. And when I ask myself as a former user, why do I do this? Why can't I stop? This statement of I'm a piece of crap, a piece of dog do, which every one of us have said probably thousands of times, destroys that feeling. How can I love myself if I'm a piece of dog do? And that's really where it goes. The statement, I have framed who I am, and there's a picture of a piece of crap, a freak of nature, a loser with no redeeming value whatsoever. And it took me years, and I'm excited for you to go into that.
Yeah.
To me, that's where you're starting to really touch at not just the roots, but the tip of the roots.
That's right. Because this isn't a libido problem. Like again, never worked with a client whose primary problem was libido. That being said, of course, there's a creating healthy sexual component to our work. You've got to create healthy sexuality. And again, if you're focused on just not doing the thing, you're not moving towards what it is you wish to accomplish, but it's not a libido problem. And let me give you an example that I think illustrates this perfectly. So some of the men who call me have done everything. They've been in this fight for decades. And one client called me, and he hadn't acted out in years. Why? Because he was taking a medication that had an off-label benefit of suppressing libido. To be clear, there is no medicine approved for this, nor should there be. But he was taking this libido-suppressing drug, and he was watching pornography with a flaccid penis, masturbating. And why am I doing this? Because he hates himself. And when each of you unmask, you pull behind this mask of addict. So let's just pretend for a second that you've got this addict part of yourself, and we call that a subpersonality. And you just take this part of you, you pull them out, put them down in the chair next to you, and you ask this addict part of you, where did you come from? where did you come from? Now, yes, I had an unhealthy sexual education. Maybe there was some unhealthy sexual experiences that I had in my childhood. But there's another layer that everybody goes to where they realize that that part of them, the porn, is a salve, a cream for their lack of significance. And the other side of significance is insignificance. Again, we're back to lack of love for self. It is a self-esteem problem. It is a connection problem. It is, particularly as you men move into relationships, I know we've got at least one married brother on this call, it is an intimacy disorder.
Yeah. If that's the problem, what now are the beginnings of my solutions? How do I go from, and I'll just tell you, when I've said this about myself for what, 30 years? I don't know how many years you said it to yourself, but how do I undo those what almost have become ironclad, rigid, concrete beliefs that is the lens I walk through and live through everywhere I turn? Everything that comes through that window, that frame, if you will, has that distortion of I'm no good, I'm not worthy, I'm not, and I am. I'm just a freak of nature. How do I begin to undo that?
So first, start thinking of your emotional responses that you have to failure, to conflict in your life, to your partner who's so pissed off because you can't get your stuff together, as a habit. As a habit. And when you look at those automatic, instantaneous habits in your lives, you have to go to the golden rule of behavior modification. The golden rule of behavior modification is to break a habit, you have to make a habit. And what that means is that your success in not doing the thing is a function of you doing something else. Your success in not doing the thing, your success in stopping the pornography, the prostitutes, the strip clubs, the massage parlors, whatever it is by doing something else. And that something else must be rooted in self-care and connection. Self-care and connection.
When you talk about it must be replaced, many of us are familiar with the phrase of facing it and replacing it and then connecting, an acronym for a term called FRC. And in Fortify, we talk about the importance of, again, I can be abstinent. And how many of us can say, man, I got 30 days. I've never gone that long. And we do. We give a standing ovation. It's terrific because I want to mark progress. But beneath that, you're talking about a word called self-care. And when I talk to clients, you better be doing enough daily to stay, and I use the word keenly interested in this replacement, because the stopping, what are you doing in your behavior, Vinny? Oh, well, I don't do this anymore. Well, that's great, but what do I do? What is now in those, what really for me were hours and hours and hours, days and weeks and months and years that made up that unwanted behavior? What's there now? Just sitting in a chair watching the clock? I got to replace it and fill it up with new, what I like to call healthier. I think that's what you're saying. That's
exactly what I'm saying, because they've done studies. This is a scientific fact that people who are living their life's purpose live longer, fight disease better, and if they get disease, survive it more often than people who aren't living their life's purpose. People who have solid relationships live longer. That's a mortality factor, and this data came from decades of study of heart disease, diabetes, and other long-term illnesses. So you can take that to the bank. So we know life's purpose is a mortality factor. We know connection is a mortality factor. We know people who feel significant in their lives live longer. So there's that mind-body connection that you need to embrace, because people always say to themselves, well, I've got these mental issues. I draw no distinction between mental and physical in my life based upon what I have learned about that connection. And simply, like, I want everybody to like just own this next statement, and like, stop expecting results. Just please forget about it. Don't stop pretending. Stop thinking you're going to be successful if you are not honoring your self-care. If you are not eating well, if you are not sleeping well, if you are not hydrating well, you are not exercising. Each one of those are scientifically defined keystone habits. And then the last one, if you are not practicing mindfulness, I call that my fundamental 5: eating, sleeping, drinking, exercise, practicing mindfulness. And listen, I work with brilliant men. And the notion that we get to a point in the program where we're talking about hydration, like, you got to be kidding me. And every single time I do, it clicks. And you know, the clients send me pictures of themselves with their water bottle, smiling, because this water bottle, they found, has become a super keystone habit. You've all heard the expression, you want to be successful, make your bed in the morning, right? There is science to support that proposition. And there are certain habits that when you exercise them, increase the chances of other habits being performed. Those are called keystone habits. Keystone habits, a habit that increases the likelihood that other habits will be performed. And those are both positive and negative. Porn is a negative keystone habit.
Yeah. Everything, even to the hydration, which is something that's recently changed in my life for the better. The lack of self-significance brought on by the lack of implementing the things you're just talking about. That's why I love my little object lessons, but this is me not doing those things that you just mentioned. I walk through life in pain, and I don't know about, well, I do. I know about you and me and thousands of others, that when I'm in this mode and my wife is saying, and my kids are saying, Daddy, love me, feed me, clothe me, take care of me, I can't do that effectively because I got this going on. And because I know I have to try to take care of them, I get my porn out and I try to medicate, try to take this off. But when the high goes away and I'm back in the cycle, that's why I can't just keep replacing with porn and other unwanted sexual behaviors. I got to find the self-significance, which only seems to come in. And I want to talk about, you gave me a great idea, Craig. We were talking, I think, December of this year, and we were talking about self-care. And you gave me this idea. I'm a longtime pilot. I haven't flown recently because of health issues. But you said the word pre-flight checklist. And you might remember, I went crazy. I wrote you later to say, you've given me the best new way of doing my own personal daily self-care. I can predict how well my day, my week, my month will go by how careful and circumspect I am about doing my daily pre-flight checklist. I don't take my plane off unless I do the checklist. I don't leave my door unless I've done my Vinny's pre-flight checklist. Daily self-care. Do we have time to talk about those?
Oh, heck yeah. We most certainly do. We better have time.
Yeah.
And there's two parts to that. There's the routine perspective, and I want to talk about that. And then there's this concept called your personal dashboard. So first, around routines. The way I think of living a great life, subject to my mental health challenges. One doctor says I have bipolar. The other doctor says I don't. I've had depression, anxiety, ADD, abuse survivor, back surgery, jaw surgery, 7 car accidents, 6 concussions, fractured skull. They want to do a 2-level on my neck. and I have a chronic inflammatory condition, much like Lyme or fibromyalgia. So I got issues. I got issues. So, and you all do. We all do. We all have our challenges. So like a company, I like to thinking about business, because business is really good at generating profits and efficiency and results in a structured way. Every business that's successful has a robust infrastructure, internal policies and procedures and programs and protocols that consistently drive results. So if you take that to the personal level, what are your routines? And if you don't have a morning routine and an afternoon routine and an evening routine that is lifting you up and keeping you on track, because you will experience failure, you will experience loss, you will be afraid. And there's a certain irony. The more successful you become, the scarier it gets. Doesn't get any less. But managing that fear through this personal infrastructure to counterbalance these challenges, this unhealthy sexual education, the fact that we are biologically wired for libido. You know that? Talk to any evolutionary psychologist, biologist. We are wired for variety. And porn has naturally filled that void. What are you doing? What make a habit? We talked about break a habit. What make a habit are you doing to have that personal infrastructure? And routines are a significant part of that. And one recommendation for those of you who are buying what I'm selling and setting routines is to, and I love saying this, I love it, lower the bar. Lower the bar. You set a routine that is so ridiculous easy. I wake up, I do one push-up, I brush my teeth, say a mantra, repeat whatever it is. Like it could be 3 seconds, could be 5, 10. And by the way, if that's too much, you lower the bar even further. You lower the bar even further, because you need to create a culture of success in your lives. And Kaizen goal setting, continuous improvement, mini habits and micro goals are going to help you build a pattern, a sustainable pattern of success versus hit rock bottom, start sprinting. I got to start running fast. I'm going to jump on every call. I'm going to run 2 miles a day. I'm going to read a book every week. Unsustainable. So in terms of routines, set for yourself the most ridiculously easy, and you know it's easy because you can do it. That's how easy it has to be, and then build on that. So that's routines. And
it sounds contrarian to a lot of people. It makes so much sense to those of us that have learned that recovery really is one day at a time. Yeah, look, let's
one small step can change your life. Wait, where is it? Hold on. The Kaizen Way by Dr. Robert Moore. If someone wants to pull that off Amazon, the Audible version is far superior. One small step. That is the science behind the principle of what I just shared with you. And you can't read that book and realize that you've been doing it wrong all your life. Okay, that book will change you personally and professionally. It's one of the most important books I've ever read around that Kaizen goal setting. So routines, set attainable routines. How are you going to start your day? How are you going to end it and make that so ridiculously easy? You're embarrassed to tell somebody, hey, look, I accomplished my goal today. I had a drink of water, repeated a line to myself, and did one push-up. Ooh, wow, we got a great coach there. How much you pay for that? Like that's how you know it's the right Kaizen goal. That's how you know it's the right Kaizen goal. The other concept, which is very, very important, is this concept called the personal dashboard. And what all of you will find when you finally start living your life's purpose, creating some success, you'll know that you not doing the thing is a function of you doing something else. Remember, to break a habit, you have to make a habit. And what you will find is that when you perform these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like silly things every day, you're going to be successful. And so the personal dashboard concept that I've created is, and listen, it's a report card, metrics, pre-flight checklist. It's the things that you need to do in order to be successful. And it's not the Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within dashboard. It's not that next level dashboard. In fact, it's the opposite of that. It is the mandatory minimum. It is the, if I'm doing these things, I can honestly and truly say to myself that I am on the right track. If I am doing these things, I can honestly and truly say to myself that I am practicing self-love. And here's what that does, because listen, how many of you guys how you doing today? Okay, meh, right? How many meh we got out there, right? How many meh we got out there? And you got to get rid of meh. You got to get rid of average. You've got to get rid of okay. You are either on the right track and you are on the wrong track, because the fact of realizing you're on the wrong track, what does that do? It drives action. Okay doesn't drive action. Okay drives more complacency, mediocrity, underachievement, and malaise. So you've got to just get rid of that. Okay, it does not exist from this day forward anymore in your life. Every time you say okay, say wrong track. Wrong track. It's an illusion. It's a myth. It's a downward, slow, and steady spiral to a crappy life. And so that dashboard has to contain the mandatory minimum. Eating. I ate well today. I exercised for 5 minutes. I meditated for 3. I made sure to connect with somebody. My partner. It's the things that the things that you need to do in order to say that you are on the right track. Not unleashing the power within. That comes with that sustainability and building on those Kaizen goals. So
when I try to start there, like unleash the power within, with no foundation of what you're calling these sort of mandatory minimums, I don't seem to ever be able to bridge sort of that place I'm at to get to those next milestones and levels, because my goals are so high and my capacity to achieve them is so low that I'm always living in failure. And again, go back to the self-esteem, self-love. I don't love myself. I don't even like myself. I can't. And then I'm in the corner of the room in the fetal position, rocking back and forth, sucking my thumb, crying for mommy. And that's why what you're saying is so essential, Craig, on those. I love the term, mandatory minimums, and lower the bar. I got to write some letters out and quit telling people to raise the bar. We got to lower the bar to build this sense of achievement and accomplishment. And then I can build on that. There's no reason I can't start drinking 2 glasses of water a day, but I don't drink 2 a day until I've started drinking 1 a day. And I think that's been part of the struggle that so many of us have had.
It's, look at pay attention to your body, brothers. If your pee is really yellow, it means you're dehydrated. If when you defecate, it's like a scene from Saving Private Ryan, then that's your body telling you that you are sick. How do we know a dog is sick? Anyone have pets or a cat? How do you know a dog is sick? We know a dog is sick because their poop is a mess. So I'm just be mindful. Be mindful of what you put in. Be mindful of what comes out. We're the only species that needs to wipe, guys. We're the only ones.
We need a new area of fortify. Thanks to that, Craig, is examining our defecation to find out our physical well-being.
Yep.
But you're right. We don't talk about that. And again, that's why you're the no BS porn coach, Craig. You talk about things that nobody else is talking about, and they ought to be addressed. So,
I thank you. And I know they're being talked about, Vinny, but they're not being prioritized. They're not being put to the front of the line. And what I do is I put this to the front of the line. And we have, in my group coaching program, we do 7 group coaching calls. and you're not allowed. I don't mean it this way, but we have guidance. You're not allowed to say, your sobriety, how long you've been sober without identifying the actions that you took to get there.
Yeah.
So it's that simple, count the days you're practicing self-care. Count the days that you're loving on yourself. Count the days that you are executing on that mandatory minimum. And yes, stop counting the other. Try it. See what happens. See what happens. Or make it secondary. But that what you resist persists. That is a scientific fact. And so many of you not doing the thing is at the center of your struggle. And just, close your eyes, picture yourself in a jungle, and don't picture a pink elephant. Don't do the thing. You're going to get to a place where you don't do that. Not I can't do that. You don't do that. Why? Because you've got a life worth living, a life that you're proud of, connections that make you feel alive, tools to manage the challenges that you will have in your life.
Life's purpose.
Life's purpose.
Can you talk about life's purpose and connection, both of those features? There's a statement, to the brain, meaning is everything. And to me, that ties in. As you and I have visited over the months, and I'm much more familiar now with your story, you have created a powerful life's purpose. How has that impacted where you are today versus where you were 10 years ago? I mean, you're an attorney working for $1 billion company.
It's just so profoundly different. And there's two aspects of life's purpose that I want to talk about. One is you, my brothers listening here, I'm talking to you, need to find meaning in this struggle. If you frame this as a journey to stop watching porn because it really makes my wife mad, or stop watching porn because I'm not supposed to do it, it's a sin, I respect all that. Half of my clients are deeply spiritual men. But that is not going to empower you to create long-term success. You need to see the purpose in this struggle. Because here's the thing. If you come out the other side, what does that mean? That means you have self-control. That means you've elevated your emotional intelligence. That means that you have connection in your life. That means that you are living your life's purpose. That means that you have found the gift in your struggle. You have found the gift in your struggle. And listen, I wish I didn't torture my wife. I wish I didn't prey on poor, vulnerable young women driving around picking up prostitutes, okay? But I can't go back and change that. But I have found the meaning in this gift. I have found the gift in my struggle, and that's what you need to do. So that's just in regards to the path that you're on right now. The second part of that is, why are you here? What is your purpose on this earthly plane? If you don't realize that life is so precious that any day gone. How many? And I ask myself this question: how many 47-year-olds died today? Like thousands, I think, in the world. I think the number's that high. And for those of you younger, it's not as much, but somebody did. And by the grace of God, it wasn't you. What is your life's purpose? You need to have, and science tells us, because what did I tell you earlier? People who live their life's purpose live longer, resist disease better, and cure themselves from disease when they get it. This isn't a mental thing. This is a physical. This is a spiritual and a mental piece. What is your life's purpose? What is your why? Why are you here? And you need to tap into that why. What do you want in your career? What do you want in your finances? What do you want to make? What do you want to do? Like, what do you want to give back to? How do you want to help? How do you want to provide for your family when you get there? Your health. Why? Be healthy? Well, because I'm supposed to. My doctor told me to. Why? Hobbies, relationships, and your spirituality, whatever that might be. What is your why in each one of those areas? And then you realize, okay, so I got the pilot light burning, but you're smart enough to know that it will fade unless it is not fed. It is not fed. You've got to feed the right wolf. Feed the right wolf. That fire needs kindling. And it's your job to provide it so that fire burns bright. So you're proud of the life that you're living. Like your buddy sends you a video of some, oh, check out this hot new chick. Dude, I don't do that. I got a plan. I'm not surrendering that most powerful part of one of the most powerful parts as me as a man. My sexual energy, my life-creating energy, that incredible pleasure that we're able to drive when we're connected with someone and in that intimate relationship. It is powerful. How do we know it's powerful? Because people who've had that part of themselves damaged, people who have been sexually abused as children, all other things being equal, kill themselves at a higher rate. And all of you are hopefully there's not too many of you there. I know there's some of you. I'm sorry. But they're on a spectrum of sexual brokenness, which is another reason why you must be looking to create sexual health, healthy sexuality, whatever that means for you. Single, in a relationship, find
it. Craig, you're amazing. We got 13 minutes. I want to ask you about also the word connections. So many of us have lived in the basement, the den with the door closed. What we do privately and alone. And I do. I'm the director of Fortify Groups, as you know, and got a lot of guys say, well, I would do group, but I'm too scared. I'm too uncomfortable sharing my story with others. Groups were amazing for me, the group process. And I know you do groups as well. Groups is a great place for connection, accountability. For guys saying, what do you really mean by connections? Because for me, it's a piece that if it's missing also, I'm going to be kind of spinning my wheels in this journey for freedom. Connections, Craig. Talk about connections.
So, yeah, thank you, Vinny. Such an important topic. Many of you may have heard this expression. Jonathan Hari speaks about this in his YouTube video and TED Talk. Everything I learned about addiction is wrong. So that's where you'd go if you'd wanted to see this. And what he says was the opposite of addiction isn't sobriety. Not sobriety, it's connection. The opposite of addiction isn't sobriety. It's not just not doing the thing. It's connection. And while that may sound like a cute internet meme, with a little picture or somewhere, someone giving a little motivational thing, it is deeply rooted in scientific understanding of human behavior. Studies on rats going back to the 30s where they had the rats, got them addicted to heroin, put them in alone. Then they put the rats in the rat heaven, the rat park, where they had toys and games, and other rat people gave them a choice, heroin or healthy nutrition. They all picked healthy nutrition. And those studies have been replicated over and over and over again. And so by connection, what that means is that you are vulnerable with another human being. You have authentically connected. Now, that doesn't mean you have to, people mistake vulnerability for sharing every dirty, dark secret about my life. Right? That's a reflection of how you feel about yourself. It doesn't have to be that, although there is a place for that. And the groups are an amazing place for that. But you have good connection in your friends, your family. You are vulnerable. You are present. You are like you are connected with people, and you have a infrastructure around connection, because many of us tend to isolate. I tend to isolate. I'm left to my own devices. I'd be in a van down by the river, watching porn.
Yeah.
But so I have to counterbalance that. I counterbalance that professionally in the groups that I run, the one-on-one work that I do. I complement it personally in my life by making sure I go to a yoga class, making sure I go to my kids' events at school, making sure I'm outside every day walking. and it feels like second nature. It's being open. It's sharing. It's connecting. Like is that word itself? What does it say? It said there's two people have connected.
And for a topic, it's an important topic. And but I also made a promise to several of the spouses to spend at least a couple of 3 minutes. It deserves a lot more than that.
Oh yeah.
How can the spouse, from your experience, how can the spouse best assist? There's so many different types. Got the cattle prod spouse that's there every day saying, did you slip? Did you slip? Did you slip? I've got ones that say, this doesn't affect me at all. It's your problem. You deal with it. I'm kind of going, not leaving you, but you come back. Let me know when it's over. Help me understand your take on that important role if there's a partner or a spouse involved.
Yeah, so that obviously makes things more complicated. And there's a problem with your partner who has turned into your mother. Your partner has turned into your mother. She may have naturally fallen into that role. It may be out of necessity to make sure that you don't continue to flush your life down the toilet. So first things first, what we tell our partners is you start focusing on you. It's your time to be selfish. It's time for you to prioritize your mind, body, and spirit. Go to the lawyer. Go to the financial planner. Know what your rights are. Don't live in fear like you're stuck. Half the marriages end in divorce. The approach we take with the partners is an empowerment-centric approach. Because that's what one of two things happen. When the partners start moving forward, and the man sees their partner stepping out of that dynamic. I'll tell you, the scariest thing that my wife Michelle ever said to me 9 years ago was, you know what? I'm done. Do whatever you want. Craig, I don't care. And it sounds like such a stupid, silly thing. But what that meant was that she was checking out of that. Did you do it? Did you not do it? What did you do? Where you going? What you doing? Where you been? How you doing? Like she's done. She's no longer going to let me stay in control because that's manipulation, lying, gaslighting. Those are all the things that I was doing. And I'll never forget that moment because that's when I said to myself, oh my gosh, I'm ready to lose everything. I've got to do something different. I've got to fix this problem. So that's what we tell our partners. So either the husband or partner catches up, or they get to a place where they realize that he's not going to catch up. He's not coming with me on this journey. I'm done. I'm out. I'm not going to live in an unhappy, miserable relationship for the rest of my life with someone who isn't meeting my needs. And here's what I talk to the partners, and they often call me and say, Craig, what do I do? What do I say? What do I say to, first of all, he doesn't think it's a problem. Now you guys are here because you recognize that it is a problem. But the partners, what I encourage them to focus on is, are your needs being met? Does he make you feel special? Is he living up to his potential? Are you proud of what he's done in his career? Is he being a good father? Are you really look at him and say, wow, I picked right. I picked right. Yeah, like this, I really feel good about the choices I made in my life. And when the partner stops focusing on the symptom, when the partner starts focusing on the symptom and gets to the root cause of the relationship, the intimacy disorder, that has a magical way of transforming that relationship. Because she stops being mother. One of the problems that you men I had, is we're projecting mother onto our partners. And guess what? It's hard to be intimate it's impossible to be intimate with your mother.
Yeah.
Because there is resentment, guys. There is resentment, which creates distance.
I'm in pain, mommy. Take care of me.
Yep.
I got to get rid of this, which means getting to the root. And I like your term, intimacy disorder. We talk about that. Craig, gosh darn it, I want to go another hour or 2 or 3 with you. I am I'm exhilarated. I'm motivated. You've given me so much more good stuff to think about. Members are saying, I want to read more. I want to hear more. Where do they go to find out more?
Sure. So I just posted my website, guys, is www.themindfulhabit.com. So I've got a quiz on the website. I've got a free Facebook, but you guys are getting support here. But anyway, there are resources on the website, and I just attached a link to really the best training that I've ever put together that really, really delivers some clarity on what I think are the most important aspects of recovery. People have told me it's very different, that they were really surprised by some of the things that they learned and realized how wrong the path they were on, was. So please, you can check it out there. And I got a podcast called Sex Afflictions and Porn Addictions on iTunes and Spreaker. So I do one of those every week or two. So love doing those, and that's it.
You're a giant, Craig, and I can't thank you. And by the way, our not everybody, because of time zones, and you probably run into the same problem, is that not everybody will see this live. Many of the Fortify members will see this later after it's reposted on the replay, and they will be grateful. They will be equally, I hope, exhilarated. Thank you for your sense of urgency. Thank you for reminding us that the problem is not porn. The problem is deeper than that, and I need to be addressing those. And I have to tell you, one of the reasons I love the Fortify training is we address and talk about the critical nature of those, what we'll call them, the other areas. Also,
let me speak to that, Vinny, because I just want to say you guys are very, very lucky, because you've got a team that understands these principles, and you've got a team that is constantly reaching out and searching for the best information for you guys. And listen, I am confident that everything I said is a lesson somewhere. I remember going through the lessons like, oh yeah, I talk about that. It's all there. I'm just encouraging you to put that, the stuff that some people think is the other stuff, the sideline stuff, because I got to work on the addiction. Put that other stuff first. And that's really, part of my value proposition. But you guys are in a great place. I know Clay personally. So honored and blessed to be here, Vinny. I'm blown away. Nobody has done what you guys have done in terms of educating people and getting the word out and helping parents help their kids and lobbying. And there's so many things, guys, that these guys do that you may not even be aware of. But they're so proud to be here. Truly, truly a privilege, my friend.
Thank you so much, Craig. And again, I hope you'll allow us to not take your name in vain, but refer to you often. Some people are going to come by your way, and they will be assisted as well. Thank you for the help that you've given so many of us. And I hope you'll allow yourself to say yes when I invite you back.
Oh, it'd be a privilege, my friend. I'm ready.
Thank you. Best to you. Best to Michelle. Are you still coaching kids in school?
What's that? Nope. No more soccer. My boys moved on to golf. My daughters moved on to community theater. We do plays together and things like that, but still keeping busy. That I assure you.
Keep up your great work, Craig. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
All right, my friend. Bye-bye, everybody.